I have a question for you. How often do you see a girl you like? And how often do you approach them? That mismatch is what we will solve today. Hi, my name's Mike, and you're on my personal self-improvement channel. So you might have heard about comfort zones. Your comfort zone is all the things that you're comfortable doing. So whatever you're comfortable with is within your comfort zone. Now, you don't approach girls and don't talk to them because it's outside of your comfort zone. Which means that in order to talk to them, you either need to go outside of your comfort zone or expand it. The funny thing is that to expand your comfort zone, you need to do things that are outside of it. So you need to do things that you're uncomfortable with. So why don't you just go and approach that 10 out of 10 girl that you always wanted to approach? What? You can't? Of course you can, because it's too much outside of your comfort zone. It's not that I am prohibiting you from approaching a girl you like. It's just that you most likely will not be able to do that. I mean, if you will, then good for you, but most people will not be. Because it's like walking stairs. Imagine you're on the first floor and you want to reach the 10th floor. You don't just teleport there. You have to walk on the second floor, then to the third floor, then to the fourth floor, and so on. And eventually, after walking some stairs, after making some steps, you will reach the 10th floor. So in order to expand your comfort zone, you don't just go and immediately do the hardest thing, which for most people will be approaching their 10 out of 10 girl. Instead, how you should do this is by making smaller steps that you are less uncomfortable with. Again, it doesn't mean you should be 100% comfortable with it. Remember, you are going outside of your comfort zone, so it still should be uncomfortable, but it should be uncomfortable enough for you to be able to do this. In real life, it will work something like this. Let's take me from high school. I was not very social in high school. I did not talk to people much, I did not communicate with pretty much anyone, I barely had any friends, mostly because I was still learning English, but mindset also played a big role. So for me, back then, approaching a girl would be something almost impossible. However, what would be more possible for me is if I focused on making friends, male friends. Yes, you might say, well, come on, making male friends, that's not getting a girlfriend. And you're right, that's not getting a girlfriend, but that's not the point. The point here is to go outside of your comfort zone, become comfortable with it, and then do something more difficult. For instance, after this alternative version of me from high school made male friends, he could go and make female friends. Even with girls whom he is not attracted to, because that will still be practice, that will still be difficult. That is still talking to a woman. Then his next step could be talking to his 10 out of 10 girl as a friend. And finally, the thing that he actually wants, which is asking her out, will become uncomfortable enough for him to try it. So it will not be too uncomfortable, but it will also not get too comfortable for him unless he does this a lot of times and becomes a player. Again, it's like walking stairs. You don't teleport to the end of the staircase. You can walk 2 steps at a time if you're cool, but you cannot just teleport. You have to walk, you have to use your legs. And yes, if you never walked stairs before, it will be difficult for you. And at the end of this whole way of expanding your comfort zone, you will realize that the woman that you wanted is just as human as you. She's not special, she doesn't need special treatment. And I mean, most likely you already understand it consciously, at least I hope so. But understanding it and actually feeling it is completely different. Right now you might understand it, but you probably don't feel it. And once you expand your comfort zone and get close to it, you will start to actually feel it. And that's when it will become easier. So at this point, I told you the main thing that I wanted to tell you in this video. So if you want, you can just write this information down and click off. But if you want to learn more, you're welcome to stay. I have a little bit more tricks for you. Another way to expand your comfort zone without even going outside of it is to increase your testosterone. Because when you increase your testosterone, you just start caring less in a good way. You start being more socially dominant, you start being less anxious, you automatically start being more confident. In short, you just stop giving a fuck, and that will massively expand your comfort zone. When I myself started doing things to increase testosterone back in 2023, first of all, I started doing this channel, and second, I became much more social, much more open to talk to people, much less socially awkward, and more willing to try new things. Also, I started speeding more when driving. That's why self-control is very important. Testosterone matters because it gives you the exact things that you need to raise up any girl. Like I said, it's more confidence, less anxiety, more social openness, all of that helps. And the way you increase testosterone is by changing your lifestyle. For example, improving sleep, improving your diet, exercising, lowering your body fat percentage, unless it's already low, and of course, reducing stress. One thing that I believe helps is no fap. But just to be clear, there are no studies that prove or disprove that nofap actually increases testosterone. There is one study that shows no results, but that study is first of all just a single study, and second, it's very old and has very unreliable methodology. So we definitely can't say that it's reliable. The reason I think nofap works is because it worked for me, and a lot of people report that it also worked for them. So do with this information whatever you want. Now, what definitely does help with pulling girls is porn. And I mean not watching porn, because porn messes up your perception of women, especially if you don't interact with them in real life. If most of the time you see women, you see them in porn, obviously it will mess up with your brain a little bit. So the rule is don't watch porn and pull girls in real life. That's how it works. And finally, I will address self-perception. The belief some people have that they are not good enough. And I actually had this myself. I was thinking that something's wrong with my voice, something's wrong with my face. But then I started going outside and I noticed that there are people, there are men who have girls who are very, very beautiful, whom I consider beautiful. And these men are, to be honest, not very attractive, to say lightly. Almost every time I go outside, I see ugly guys with very attractive girls. How were they able to attract them? Think about it. There are bald men who get girls. There are fat men, ugly men, stupid men, men with all kinds of flaws that you can imagine, and they are getting girls. What makes you specifically think that you are so bad that you can't get one? And that may sound cheesy, but if you just believe that you're good enough, you will be good enough. Now, if you want more help with getting girls or something else, either from me personally or from other people, you're welcome to join my Cossack host on Discord. Link is in the description. And I see you in my next video.
Wow.